Hello guys, right. Having a little wander up. There seems to be some kind of presentation going on. Oh, okay, I'm coming. You alright? Sorry pal, can I just go?
Thanks for coming out to us. We're very, very concerned, which is all drafted out in the letter, that we've had a lot of historical abuse in Rochdale, and it has been proven today with the report that the council are complicit in a cover-up, and we believe that's still going on today. We have evidence that child sexual exploitation is still going on today, and that's on your watch. You're there as a council to serve and protect these people, same as the police are there to protect and serve, and your own motto with the children's services, they're also there to protect and serve. I'd like the courtesy of my name, there's an email address on there. I'd like the courtesy of a reply in person from Mr. Brett, and I'll also be issuing that to the local press and media.
Thank you for this. I'm accepting this on behalf of Rochdale Borough Council.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, the council has apologised for what's happened, and the council will be issuing a statement and a further apology within the next half an hour or so. Okay,
I appreciate they're going to issue an apology, right? But what about the victims, the survivors, and their families that have to live with this? What are you going to do to help them moving forward?
I'm sorry, I can't make any more statements.
We need action.
My son went to North and he was physically abused day after day, time after time. I've just found out that my complaints were withdrawn as irrelevant. I found out that's from May of 94, 95. And I didn't withdraw any complaints. Why would I still be going on about it 23 years later? If all that time ago,
complicit of a cover-up.
Forget it.
I'm extremely sorry to hear that, and said we will be reviewing I'm really sorry to hear that, and we will be reviewing the outcome of the inquiry, and council will be issuing a statement.
Okay, so that review of the inquiry, sorry, just one quick one.
I'm sorry,
can I ask just one question? Are you going to have victims, and the families involved in that review of the inquiry?
Can I just ask one question? I know that you're ready for...
Is that it? Now that looks a man that didn't really have too many concerns about what's going on.
Not at all. Complicit with a cover-up. And that's the length and breadth of the country, Phil.
Yep, you're right there, pal. I can always, we can have another little chat when it's a bit quieter at some point.
Phil would love to do an interview with you that we're going to help use on the UKIP thing, and Phil's agreed to that.
Pleased to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Phil, obviously Linda and Phil.
Why is it for media only in that room when he reads out the report? They're covering up the cover-up.
It should be transparent.
Well, they said you'll find out in an hour or 2 hours.
They make their statement.
Channel 4 have already gone. Channel 4 have already, they can't hang about for another. They said 1 o'clock.
Right.
I was here for 1 o'clock.
There's failings. To me, this is all part of the failings. This is what the people see on the outside that haven't really got that voice and they can't really interject. And when you've got people that come out and do that and almost just kind of give you a limp-wristed excuse and then shut the door in your face, to me that only adds to the anger and the frustration of the people.
I said to him, make sure you don't lose that letter, Mr. Rooney. Make sure you don't lose it, because everything's got lost.
Linda, is there any questions that you'd like to ask the council that you can tell Phil what those questions would be? What would you like to ask? If you were allowed in that room, what would you be asking those people now, Linda?
Why did they allow it to go on? Why did they cover up? Why would they let their children be abused like that? Well, I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I was forever complaining. Craig used to say to me, leave it alone, Mum. Forget it, you know. But I won't forget it, because when they left No View, they went on to other jobs with children again. So it was going on and on.
Same old story.
Yeah, they were just moving them to another place.
What would you like to see Gerald Patton, the leader of UKIP, do about this for you?
Ooh,
the people of Rochdale, what would you like Gerald to do about it?
Hold their asses right out down. Farnell, there's going to be a formal complaint to the police tomorrow about Farnell. I'm going to do it in person with Billy Howarth, right? And there's others. There was a director of education, Diane Kavanagh, she knew about it. Liz Dovey, special needs, she knew about it. everybody knew about it, but nobody. Go away, Linda. Go away.
Well, we've had this all over the country. We even had it in London a good few years ago in Islington Council, and people move on. They brush it under the carpet.
Yeah.
People may lose their jobs, but they don't get prosecuted. What I have said right from the start on this is it's all very well having an inquiry, but what you really want is prosecutions of people who are still there to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
You can't prosecute Cyril Smith, but what you need to, because he's dead. But what we need to do is to find out why it was covered up, who was responsible for that cover-up, who was complicit in that, and should any criminal charges
accountability
follow from that.
Well, yeah.
And
I think those that have covered it up are as bad as the perpetrators because they've turned the blind eye. They've let it continue.
We know in Cyril Smith's case that the police were told. The police arrested him in London, and I think they arrested him locally here as well. And then they were told to drop it. Now, on what authority did and the police officers were on Panorama talking about this, who'd been forced to drop the case. I want to know, I'd like to know, I'm sure everybody else would, on what authority was that done?
And they said
how can it be justified? Now,
it was a good cause for prosecution as well. They said case.
He was arrested in a house in south of Westminster on the other side of the river where they knew these activities were going on. He was taken to a police, I don't know what the place was, but he was taken to a police station in Westminster. The police wanted to charge him and they were told they had to drop the case.
Well, he was also arrested on the motorway. He was stopped on the motorway on the way back from London, and he was taken into the station, and he made one phone call, and within an hour they were told to release him. He had child pornography in his boot of his car, and it's all just covered up.
Well, this is what we need to get to the bottom of. Not the kind of historical inquiry, but who's still there that didn't do their duty or broke the law and can be told to account on it. Because otherwise it's just a history book.
Farnell was leader of the council then. He said, in the 90s, whatever, he says he didn't know, he wasn't told. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. I went to the Rochdale Observer, can't print that, too controversial. Went to get a solicitor. I couldn't get a solicitor in Rochdale to set my case. Ironically, I went to, I found Max Clifford. He's in jail now for the same thing, isn't he? Is he dead? And I spoke to him, I actually got him in the office when I rang, and I told him the story. And he said, well, rather than you come to Liverpool, I'll put you on to a colleague of mine in Manchester. So I went down near the Crown Courts in Manchester, and I went in a panel. There was 4 partners there, and I had a briefcase full of evidence. And they looked at it and they said, they had a discussion and they said yes, they would take the case. They appointed me a young solicitor by the name of Jonathan, who got me a barrister just in Manchester, John Martin he was called, and he looked at it all, but the only thing I could do, I couldn't do anything about null view as such until I got into court, and then it was going to go bang. Because I was taking them to court on failing to fulfil an obligation to educate a child of the borough, 1984 Education Act. That's what I was getting the court case on. And then it was going to be, well, this is what's happening at the school. But I didn't get that chance because 7 months down the line when nothing was happening, I contacted John Martin and said, what's going on? He said, Lady, your legal aid's been withdrawn.
What?
No case.
Getting too close to it.
The only thing that I could do then was to take a civil action. A single parent with 4 kids, I ain't got that sort of money, you know. So I couldn't do it.
Gerard, can the establishment not see that? Pleasure to meet you, by the way. But can they not see that when people talk about a race war that's being generated, can they not see the bubblings, the simmering of the early stages of that with the lack of transparency and the fact that the common people is really being kind of fobbed off on a mass level, really?
I didn't understand your point about a race war. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
No, because what I'm saying is that this is all leading somewhere. There's a general underlying hatred that's being brought out because of people are being neglected in having their concerns.
I think this is what is going on. It's not just here, but across Europe, because people do not feel that the political establishments represent ordinary people. So many things that are done by governments now are not in the interests of ordinary people. And this is why there is this discontent. That's why other movements are arising into the surface. In Europe, of course, it's much easier because they have proportional representation in electoral systems, which means it's much easier to get elected. We have an uphill job in the UK because it's first past the post. It makes it much more difficult. But even then, you can't keep it down. You've seen the rise of UKIP over 25 years, which has been down to the European Union, where so much transfer of power has been given away. You know, all our powers have been lawmaking have been transferred over to the EU, and that's really what the referendum was about. It was getting back control of our democratic system. And if you don't control your democratic system through your elected representatives, then you're going to get all kinds of injustices arise. The only way to combat this kind of thing, and I know it's a party political point, but it's valid whoever you vote for, if you keep on voting the same way, you'll keep on getting the same thing. If you look at the common denominator amongst all of this child abuse, and it's called grooming, but it's more like sex slavery that's going on at the moment. In fact, it is. You know, I think it's something like 37, 38 of 40 local authorities where there have been prosecutions for this. They're Labour-controlled councils. So if you keep on voting on Labour, you're going to get the same effect. You need to vote something different, whether that be UKIP or somebody else. But if you keep on voting in the same people, then of course they're going to cover up for their predecessors.
Don't they call that
never going to get to the bottom.
The definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah, certainly. So what do you think what change do you think UKIP's going to bring?
Well, I think you can see what change we brought already without even being in Westminster, where we managed to get the referendum. And what I'd like to see here is people, UKIP councillors, are elected, so that then they can actually pursue these cases and pursue this issue and have a fresh voice and bring a spotlight onto this issue, and not just here but elsewhere up and down the country where we're fighting we're fighting seats up and down the nation in this local election campaign. If you get different people in, you get a different voice, as we did in the European Parliament from 1999 onwards. They hate us because we're anti-establishment over there, but we've told people what's actually going on. And we've educated people to the extent, and not just us, but lots of other people as well, educated them to the extent where they voted to leave the European Union. Well, let's get more people elected in local councillors, let's get people elected in Westminster, so they can actually then raise issues that common people care about, ordinary people. I didn't mean common in a derogatory manner.
Not at all.
There's lots of them, and they're not represented.
I'm proud of that word.
Well, me too. I'm pretty common myself, as you've probably picked up. But I think it's very important that ordinary people, the people that pay the taxes, the people that have to obey the laws, that they're represented. Because we all know that big businesses, they're the ones that don't pay. They find ways of not paying their taxes. They're the ones that lobby for the kind of law that they want, which benefits them and disadvantages small business and ordinary people.
But done with a smiley face on it, like it's a good thing for you.
PR, like David Cameron. He was an excellent PR man. Rubbish Prime Minister, but an excellent PR man.
Have you said that to his face?
I only met him once, and he was rude to me anyway.
Oh, right. Oh, my word. My word. So,
for the people of Rochdale, that maybe some of these people about coming out here today, and what you think the people of Rochdale could do now about what's going on here, about sticking together? Is there a message that you would like to give to the people of Rochdale about what you think they could do as a town, as a community, to help change what's happened here?
Yeah, change it at the ballot box, and don't let these cretins in again, because they don't care about you. They just care about the 34% rise and their expenses and the 25 grand jollies to France in the interest of the community. Yeah, what good's that going to do me?
Can you do you mind talking about what happened with your daughter and your person?
No, my son. It was my son. He went to Northview School. He was sent to Northview School at the age of 9. That was in 1990, when they already knew that known paedophile by the name of Roderick Hilton was gaining access to the boys and molesting them, sexually abusing them, and they sent my son there, 9 years old, already vulnerable in that he was behaviour problems. Was
that through that, after that, or was that before?
He had behaviour.
Right, so he went there because of that. Okay, yeah. Right, okay.
But they were supposed to be a special school to deal with these children.
Can I just say that seems to be very... what can I say? It seems to be the same scenario. Vulnerable people seem to be exploited.
Well, they knew that this was going on when they sent him.
Yeah.
I didn't know. He wouldn't have gone if I'd have known, obviously.
Yeah.
But for 3 years he was there, and all this was, I'd found out after. That's when the shit hit the fan for me, because I'm working alongside the whistleblower for 23 years, a guy by the name of Martin Deegan, and I spoke to him this morning, and he was the only one. He went to work at the school, saw what was happening. Whoa, I'm not having this. That was it. He brought it out, and it was just sheer chance that I met him after Craig had left the school. I met him, of all places, at the swimming baths, and he said, "Lad, I've seen you. I've got this paperwork, you know, I'll let you have it." So roundabout way through solicitors, I got the paperwork, which was all the documents from the Director of Education, the child psychologist at the hospital, all the reports about the boys being groomed in a place that's now a taxi place down there. It used to be toilets. They were brought there, and they was abused by kids, you know, other people. And then the kids was taken from as young as 8 and was taken to a house in South Manchester where paedophiles from as far away as Sheffield came to use them. And this was all known, and in the you know, the paperwork that I've got, and nobody had listened to me. I got followed, I got threatened, I got abusive phone calls, and, you know, shut up. No, I ain't shutting up. While there's little boys and girls, it was boys with me.
Yeah.
While they're doing this to kids, I'm not having it. I'm not seeing that thing today. I want to be able to tell my children that I didn't keep quiet.
That's right. There's a conscience. You've got to have a conscience, and I think we're all kind of consciously waking up now to being asleep to the fact that this is going on. It's systematically going on right underneath our noses, and then when you bring it up, you regard it as a certain tag, a negative tag, when you know you've got a point.
The report out today, it says that they knew in here, they knew what was going on. Parnell, who was then the leader of the council.
And then he was the leader again when the ICSA report was being made.
And they accused him today, they said he lied when he was reported. He said he lied. He knew what was going on the toilets, he knew what was going on, they all knew what was going on the bus station right there. They knew what was going on in Knollview, they knew what was going on in Cambridge House, and they did nothing about it.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
It's exactly the same with the whole grooming thing now today.
If you didn't know it was true, you'd find it difficult to believe it ever happened. Because it's so appalling that a normal person would think this kind of thing, even if it went on, could not be covered up by the authorities. That's the part that beggars belief. Not that sick perverts do things, but it can be covered up by the very people that should have been preventing it and stopping it.
But then we'll turn round and tell you you're wrong for even bringing it up when they know that in the back of their mind that they are covering it up, or through 6 degrees of separation they know of someone within that establishment that's kind of doing it.
It's one thing to suspect something's going on, and you can't, we can't accuse someone unless you can prove, especially in public. But the police knew that this was. The police had evidence to prosecute, and they still didn't do things.
Yeah. So what do you do there?
Who's leaning on the police? Who's got the power to do that?
Well, that's when it gets bigger and bigger.
The Crown Prosecution Service as well.
Yeah.
The police gave them the evidence according to the report out today.
Right.
And the Crown Prosecution Service decided not to continue with it. So the question is, what's going on in the Crown Prosecution Service, let alone the police?
It's that rabbit hole that's just getting ever so big. It's just like a big void now, isn't it?
That's what they thought of my complaint.
Irrelevant.
Goodness gracious. Who's written that?
So this was... Is this a reply?
This is leaked.
Right.
This is part of the report.
But this is your actual official complaint, and that's how they've processed it.
Says here,
Oops. Oh, look, see, that's a man of the people. Look, Gerard, legging it after your piece of paper.
Well done. It says here, in April '94, my name, complained about scratch marks, complaint withdrawn, absolute lie. Catalogue of complaints was investigated by the head. Complaints, I can't understand what that says, but the outcome of it is it's saying that I withdrew those complaints.
And you didn't.
And they're 23 years down the line, still
still shouting about it.
Yeah.
So it's a way to get you off the system, off the yeses,
Well, I've also got a copy of a letter from the HIV/AIDS coordinator at Rochdale, And he'd done a report, and he said he was increasingly concerned for the safety of these boys in that they may contract HIV/AIDS.
Sure.
And he'd written this letter to the Director of Education, Diane Kavanagh. Her reply, I also have that, and it says, please don't make your findings public. So none of the parents of these kids that was going through this
entitled to know.
I don't even know any of the other no-view parents, whether they know, well, they'll know now, won't they, but whether they'll know that it appertains to the time when their kids was there, I don't know, because when they say, oh, it was 40 years ago and it was in the 60s, I think, well, my son weren't there then, but it was there in the 90s.
Well, how could it go on for 30 years?
That's what I mean, yeah.
You think even if they wanted to cover it up, they shut it down?
Yeah. When you've got a media that's so anti-telling the truth.
I mean, this is why people don't watch it anymore. I mean, I keep telling people this. I've been watching news and current affairs for 50 years, since I was 10 years old. I don't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
I look at the headlines. Where's there an earthquake? Where's there been a massacre? You know, what's happened? And once I know the headlines, I know how they're going to present the stories, and I'll watch something else. And you know, there are stories there they're not telling you anyway. Yeah. If you know anything about it.
It's like the moulding the sculpture in their own form, rather than just informing you.
How to think and how to react to things, not actually what's going on.
And they don't get it, Gerard. Well, why do they not see that that's...
They all belong to the same class. They've all been educated in the same universities. And they all talk to each other. You know, they're all of a similar mould. Yep. Certain things are great, like the European Union, wonderful. Massive uncontrolled immigration, great. Anyone who doesn't like it's a racist. And that moulds the entire way they think about everything. Not just that, but, you know, climate change. Oh yes, mustn't query man-made climate change.
Yep.
So you have it's very interesting. It's one of the key people who doesn't believe in man-made climate change is Corbyn's brother, Piers Corbyn. Have you seen? He runs a meteorological business. He's made a lot of money out forecasting the weather. Right. He was on BBC a few years ago. They used to have him on. And he said, "No, it's got nothing to do with man. It's got to do with the activity of the sun and the tilt of the Earth toward the sun. All these kind of things." He was never on BBC again. But he's still making money out of forecasting the weather.
Right? Yeah. And what? Is he not invited back to the Corbyn household then?
He's a really nice bloke, actually.
Right. Yeah, but he's obviously the one with common sense in that family, isn't he? You know, what can you say?
He's more left wing than his brother, so that's more worrying.
Oh, Jesus, right. Oh, well, I don't know what to make of that.
Secretary of State is concerned here. In July 95.
Yeah.
And it says here, concerns have been raised in letters to the Secretary of State about a number of issues relating to Knollview Residential School.
Yep.
I appreciate that this school closed at the end of 94 under emergency powers, but the issues raised are of a serious nature. And then all the report about what was happening to the boys. But don't tell me nobody knew about it, because this is from the Department of Education and Employment to the Director of Education at the time, Diane Kavanagh.
Sure, yeah.
We didn't know. Nobody told me.
So how did you get hold of these documents, Linda?
Through the post. Addressed to Linda.
A well-wisher.
Yes.
Can you just hold it up to the camera? Let me get out of your view.
And that is what's thought about my complaints.
Right. The writing's a bit...
I know, it's very hard to read.
It is. It's like a bit of a doctor's...
But this is here. My complaints are here. Reported to the Child Protection Unit. What happened? Nothing.
You've got the key word. You've got the key word, which is irrelevant.
That's all that really matters on it. That's what they're kind of saying, aren't they? Yeah. And that's bolder than any of the other information. So the point is clear there. And there's no verification into... If they was to follow that up and really scrutinise your comments and then come to that conclusion, you could kind of argue, all right, well, fair enough. They seem to have done the due diligence with it, but that doesn't seem... It's like they've read it, all right. Yeah, she's only one kind of common proletariat. Let's just push that away.
It's one of the plebs.
So it's...
One of the plebs.
Yeah, no problem. Right, okay, mate, so... Right, well, it obviously seems to be systemic, so hopefully, what do you expect to get out of the day? I mean, do you anything moving forward, do you think it's going to have a positive effect?
Yeah, there'll be complaints to the police made about certain members of the council, past and present,
yep.
For failing to do the duties, for turning a blind eye, knowing it was going on, complicit in the abuse. Yeah, I'm going to make complaints to the
Somebody's
police.
been accused of lying under oath, so that may well be a criminal offence.
Hopefully.
Just a case of getting to that information that will prove that. So, what positive can you offer for this scenario, Gerard?
We've talked about lots of things over the year which are now, becoming common currency, and people can't not talk about them. So this is one of the things that I want our UKIP councillors to take up when they get elected. Because this issue is going on all over the country, I want them to help work with the victims to actually get to the bottom of what's actually gone on. Because it's an injustice that it happens, but it's a worse injustice when it's covered up afterwards. Because if something unjust happens to you, you want it to be set to rights as much as it can be.
Hold your hands up.
And that is about admitting that it went on, knowing who was guilty, and putting in place, I think, what any victim probably wants more than anything. They can't get that part of their life right, but they don't want it to happen to somebody else.
Certainly. Right, well, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. So thank you to Linda for giving us your testimony. Hopefully we might have another chat at some point, maybe when it's a bit quieter and out the way. And Gerard, thank you very much for your time, sir. And let's hope we have a positive day. So this is Red Pill Phil speaking outside the grounds of where it's supposed to be a public inquiry, but it seems to be anything other than that. So keep following, guys. There's going to be more information put on the channel as the day progresses. So this is Red Pill Phil. Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks a lot. Nice one.